I saw an article. I like this discussion about move-up buyers right now because I think that a lot of people fail in the analysis of the value of a move-up because, you know, like an example, someone that's selling a $200,000 house to buy a $500,000 house. We deal with this all the time, and I think it's a perfect market for that with rising interest rates and rising prices. Obviously, if you wait to do your move-up, it's going to cost you more money because, and it's going to realistically cost you a lot more money because the house that you're buying, the $500,000 house that you're buying, if it's appreciating at the same percentage as your $200,000 house, you're really losing money every month you wait to do it because, you know, let's say houses are going up 1% a month. Your $500,000 house goes up $5,000. Your $200,000 house goes up $2,000. Effectively, you lost $3,000. And it's not. I mean, I make it seem really simple on the math. It's certainly never that simple on the math. But that is something that move-up buyers have to look at. You know, the longer you wait, the more it's going to cost you, and the more you're going to lose out on. Because we'll have people who will say, you know what, I got my $200,000 house. I need to get it to 2.25. I need to work to get to 2.25 before I can buy my 500 because that's how much I need. It's like, but your 500 is going to be 550 by then. Like, so you're not really helping yourself by waiting.
Right, and it's good that a lot of people that were in the market buying homes, you know, earlier this decade, they've made a ton. I mean, I just did a refinance for a couple people. I mean, they both have $100,000 in equity on smaller type homes than they would have had, you know, previously. So they're able to put that now on the new home as a down payment, right. And it's the same thing. It's like, you know, so
the other thing I'll tell you,
fortunate.
The one downside of the equation as rates rise is that you'll have people that have a really low interest rate on their $200,000 house, and the rate on what they're going to buy is more, and they have this psychological. You know, this psychological barrier with paying a higher rate with a new home, so they want to stay in the other home until they can get the rates aren't coming back down. They're not coming back down. If you've got a really low rate and now you're seeing higher rates, the likelihood of them getting back down is just really, really slim. So you have to kind of eliminate that from the thought pattern. It's not coming back, not for years anyway. And I think that's a barrier for some people is that they see that they're going to pay a higher rate on what they're going to buy and they want to keep their low rate. But if they want to move up, especially with prices rising, you know, there's not been a better time to do that.
But it's still a bargain for those of us that have been in the real estate market for a decent amount of time. I mean, the rates are still a bargain, so don't let the rates.
I mean, we had investment property that we paid off this year that was in the 6s. That we bought, you know, years ago, and the rates were in the 6s.
And that was good.
I know, and I could have refinanced it, of course, but we knew we were going to pay it off, so it really wasn't worth going through the hassle of increasing our costs and the additional closing costs lumped into the loan and all that. But nonetheless, you look at it, and 6s historically are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when I bought it, I was like, it's a great rate, 6%, you know? Now people look at it, and they're like, it's at 6%. Oh my goodness, that's like torture. Exactly. They think the whole world's going to collapse because they got to pay that.
I paid in the 13s for my first house, you know?
Yeah.
And that was the going rate. You didn't think twice about it.
I remember getting an ARM on an investment property for like 6.875% back in the bust, or, you know, back before the bust. And thought, man, that's a good deal. Like, I could make money on it. I could make the rent and this, that, and the other. And now, you told somebody they were getting an ARM at 6.875. That loan officer literally is going to make millions of dollars on that deal. He's going to be vacationing in the Bahamas for a few months because of how much he bumped that rate up. You know? He got bonused really good on that one.
which isn't even technically legal anymore. But yeah, but yeah, I mean, rates are still historically low. They're not all-time low that they were a few months ago, but they are still historically low, as evidence here with Richard, the man with the double-digit interest rates.
I know. I never had that.
And that was pretty good.
Richard, you aged yourself.
Yeah, that was before my time, but just a little before. I mean, we're about half of where we were when I started.
Yeah.
As far as interest rates, so.
Yeah. And I think it'll be interesting to see how a lot of this economic stuff, what happens with the tax policies, what happens with the market and interest rates, and I mean, there's obviously a lot of things that are going to change. But you know, sitting on the fence, if you're someone that's been waiting to move up, it's definitely a mistake because it's not. There's no question it's not going to get better for you in the short term. Now, if you said, you know what, I'm going to wait to move up for 3 or 4 years, oh yeah, of course, maybe by then it is in a different place. Who knows? But like if you're saying, oh, I'm going to wait 6 months because I want the value of my house to be a little bit higher. That's a mistake. You know, the only time it's not a mistake is if you're moving down. Now, if you're selling a 300 and buying a 200, then maybe it could make sense because the math might work in your favor. But realistically, a lot of times people don't factor in the enjoyment factor, the time factor. Like for example, we talked to somebody last week that's a move up, and they're they're moving up to a higher price, but they're also moving a lot closer to their work. Their commute's going to go from like 40 minutes to 5. So what is 35 minutes twice a day worth to you? You know, and factor that into the equation. What's your dollar per hour worth? What's your enjoyment worth of not having to drive, 20 minutes to go to a restaurant? And I think a lot of people don't factor that in when they're looking at the move up, because most of the times when people move up, they're either looking at a bigger house, a nicer area, better neighborhood, closer to work, and they look at the math side of it, and they don't really look big picture at the math. They look only at, I need to get this out of this house. They don't look at what they're going to get on the buy, and they don't factor in how much money are they losing, or time are they losing, or happiness are they losing by not being in the home that they really want. That's the move up, and so that's a conversation that a great real estate agent can have with a customer to get them to open up and think about it.
Yeah, and what you and your agents do really well, I mean, same thing that when I have a conversation with somebody, I mean, let's talk about short-term and long-term goals, because that, like you said, if for somebody that wants to buy and move up in 6 months, that's a different conversation than somebody that might want to do it in 3, 4, 5 years.
Right.
There's going to be different advice that goes with each of those scenarios. It's not just about trying to push you into doing something right this second. Let's talk about what actually your goals are, and figure out the best way to
well, and then on the same token, the people, sometimes people won't factor in, all of the math. How much money are you saving on gas? What's your, is this new house going to be cheaper on insurance because it's newer construction quality and you're in a 100-year-old bungalow? Is it, they'll look only at price. It's the same conversation we have with buyers that are, we have it happen all the time. A buyer's negotiating over $500 or $1,000 in repairs, and they're risking their rate lock. And if they don't get the rate lock and the rate's an 1/8 or a 1/4 point higher, by the time they get the negotiation done, they lost what they thought they were negotiating for, because they focus on the price instead of all the other parts of the equation: utility bills, homeowners insurance. Does it have flood? Does it not have flood? Are the property taxes cheaper or lower? We with a lot of times with new construction, people won't factor this in either. But your first year, generally in a new construction home, you're paying taxes on the land. You're not paying taxes because the home hasn't been assessed yet. So there's always that benefit. Does that help the person make it more affordable in the first year or two? So, really having a true analysis on the data, and not just going based on, I need this, so I have enough for this. Looking at all of the other numbers to factor into the equation.